Alright guys, I am back. It's been close to 6 months since I've last put a video up on our channel. I think the last video was published on April 6th, and that was episode 8. And back then, I was around 185 pounds, give or take a couple pounds. And, basically far away from stepping on stage. So a lot has transpired since then. I've hit the stage now 4 times already. The first time being at the WNBF California Muscle Mayhem. That was the show that I really had my heart set on, that I wanted to get on stage and do my thing with Eric Helms, and just share the day with him and share our journey together, and also just have my family there, and of course all the other 3DMJ athletes, because the Muscle Mayhem, that's kind of our home away from home, being that it's in my backyard. It's about 40 minutes from my house, so that's really where I wanted to get back on stage after a 5-year hiatus. And yeah, it went extremely well. So although I wasn't at my peak conditioning, I pushed myself to just get enough conditioning to not embarrass myself, make myself representable, so I can partake in all the fun. And it turned out really well. From a competitive aspect, I did pretty well. Took second to Sam Okonola, who, as you guys, if you follow him, he's like one of the best natural bodybuilders on the planet. So it's definitely an honor, basically kind of taking second to him. And really quick tidbit, when I got on stage for the prejudging and they called my number and they kind of moved me next to Sam, I turned to Sam and I looked at him and I go, "Grandpa's here," as a little bit of a joke there. So I wanted to basically just enjoy the time up there and just kind of make it loose and just have fun with it. Of course, Sam cracked up laughing and he's like, "I know what you're doing here." So it kind of turned into a little bit of a running joke, because once we kind of moved past the Muscle Mayhem, we went to the WNBF Max Hype show about a month later. And of course, I was digging pretty hard to see if I can get leaner and maybe step on Sam's toes a little bit harder. And we had kind of the same result in Florida. Basically he took first, I took second. But again, just an honor to be on the same stage with such a tremendous athlete, not just one of the best natural bodybuilders out there, but the guy is just so giving, he's so humble. And my son has taken a liking to Sam. So basically, at the Muscle Mayhem, my son, myself, and Sam, we took pictures together. My wife and Sam, talked a bit, and so it was just really cool to, get to know him a little bit better. And then in Florida, once they did the announcements, they said, Jeff second, Sam first. We got our awards, we walked off stage. So first thing I did, once I got backstage, was I grabbed my cell phone and I FaceTimed my family, because I wanted to let them know how I did. And the first thing that my son says, he's like, "Where's Sam at?" So I went right to Sam, gave him my cell phone, said, "Here, Ethan wants to talk to you." And there were some people talking to Sam, and he made it a point to kind of stop what he was doing, and he talked with my son for a couple of minutes, which was really, really cool. It meant a lot to my son. And now it's like, I went to the NGA Pro Olympian in Folsom, California, another show that's kind of in my backyard that I really wanted to do, so my family can, again, have the opportunity to watch me do my thing. I ended up winning that show. And as soon as I saw my son, he goes, "You won, Dad." I'm like, "Yeah, that's pretty awesome, right?" And he goes, "Well, you won because Sam wasn't there." So it was, again, Ethan is, I think right now I can just say officially, he's Sam's #1 fan. But yeah, as you guys can tell, I'm just thoroughly enjoying my season as it's going along. I got the opportunity to guest pose in Washington at the INBF Washington Olympic. That was really special, just to be able to have the opportunity to showcase, my physique and represent natural bodybuilding and kind of do my thing on stage. It was an opportunity for me to practice my peak week, and I learned some things about myself during that setup for that guest posing that I'm carrying over now. I carried that over into the NGA Pro Olympian, and I'm going to carry that probably over into the WNBF Worlds, which is 8 weeks away. So just as I'm going along, I'm really enjoying myself a lot, like thoroughly, because you guys know, man, I'm getting definitely up there in age. I'm 48. I've been training for, what, I'm going on my 34th year now. So I'm really trying to just treasure and cherish this entire prep, because I just don't know, if I have, another one of these types of preps in me. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm going to retire after this season, but I just don't know if my body is going to be able to do what it's doing right now. So I want to make sure that every day that goes by, I'm just really kind of taking it all in and enjoying it. Even those days where I feel a little bit down in the dumps as far as like energy levels and hunger, those typical prep feels when you get pretty darn lean. So I'm really trying to just embrace the suck, and just not try to look at the other side too much, as far as like, can't wait to get to the off season so I can eat more food. Because when we're dieting, we're deep into prep, we always tend to kind of think of things as a little bit greener on the other side, or the grass is always greener on the other side, I should say. But I'm really trying not to do that. I'm trying to stay in the moment, make good decisions, and just take each day as it comes, do the best I can, and just really kind of savor the moment. Because I've worked so hard, not just with this prep, but 30 something years of training. That's a lot of work to put in a body. So I feel like right now I need to really enjoy the fruits of my labor, and that's exactly what I'm doing. But yeah, it's been quite a while since I've last updated you guys, and I could probably make this video like super long. But yeah, for the most part, as far as protocol wise, not a whole lot has changed. I think the biggest thing that's changed probably since the last time I put a video up on here on YouTube is that of course, the calories at some point probably have been lowered a little bit. I've stayed really active, whether it's keeping my step count super high, or getting on my recumbent bike and doing an hour of cardio a day. Like, I've had to basically kind of just keep that same type of structure in place. Like, unfortunately, lower calories, higher activity to kind of facilitate fat loss, and then filling the holes up with refeeds, bringing the activity level down on those refeed days, and just being very dynamic with the refeeds. So for pushing towards the muscle mayhem, so the months of May, June, July, it was like 6 low days, 1 high day. So I really had to step it up and kind of limit the number of refeeds I was taking, because I needed to get in shape for that show. So I was kind of pushing it a little bit, so my foot was on the gas there. After the muscle mayhem, again, just continuing to kind of push those low days, so 6 low, 1 high, up until the WNBF max hype about a month later. Again, I needed to continue to try to get leaner, so I was pushing the envelope a little bit. But since the max hype, I backed off a little bit. So kind of went back to 2 to 3 refeeds per week, and kind of just backing off a little bit, just because I was starting to look and feel a little too run down, and the last thing I want to do is like look extremely flat heading into the shows. So kind of just backing off a little bit. And now that I'm like 8 weeks out from Worlds, and I would say probably arguably maybe 2 to 3 pounds of fat loss to go, that I definitely have time, and I'm being a little more strategic with pushing my spots when to kind of get in there and dig, because if I've noticed that from an adherence standpoint, if I'm digging, let's say, harder than 4 days in a row, like 4 low days, like if I try to go for 5 or 6, I can tell that my adherence is probably not going to be there, because I did have a couple of days, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, I want to say, where I just had, like, I hit a wall. Like, I could hardly get off the couch. Like, I could handle the hunger. Like, that doesn't bother me as much as, let's say, not being able to move, just being really lethargic. And the last thing I want to do is have my son come up to me and say, "Hey, Dad, let's go play catch." And I can't even get off the couch. Like, that's not fair to him. It's not fair to my family, to where, I'm just like good for nothing. Like, I just can't even move. So it was just a day that hit me really hard, and I knew, like, okay, even though it's supposed to be a low day today, I need to just eat some food and just get myself out of this little funk so I can basically be a dad. And so that's what I did. Like, I auto-regulated refeed that day, ate a lot of food. I would say probably in the neighborhood, by the end of the day, I was at like 600 or 700 grams of carbs to bring me back to life. I took a 2-hour nap, which I hardly ever do. Like, I never take naps, but I took a nap because that's how bad I was feeling. So that's kind of like, moving forward, I don't want to have more days like that. So that's why, trying to grind 5 or 6 days in a row at this point, probably not going to be the most practical thing for me to do. In order for me to be not only a good bodybuilder, but a good husband, a good dad, also a good coach. I don't want to be like a zombie for my athletes. So, regardless of, hey, I need to be X lean for Worlds, if it means it's going to sacrifice too much quality of life, then I'm not all about it. Because, again, I want to be the best bodybuilder, husband, dad, coach, all around. Like, when it's all said, when my season is all said and done, I want to look back on it and say, yeah, cool, I was as balanced as I possibly could be. And I know that word balance gets thrown around a lot, and I know as a competitive bodybuilder, there's going to be sacrifices. That's inevitable. You're going to have to sacrifice. But the question is, how much are you willing to sacrifice? And as long as I know, that, I've done the approach, I've done my journey the way I want to do it, and what makes me happy at the end of the day, regardless of where the placings are, regardless of, let's say, what other people are saying, like, hey, Jeff could have got leaner or whatever. But those outside onlookers, they don't always know how things are behind closed doors. So again, what matters most is, at the end of the season, what I'm happy with, what I'm content with. And I kind of realize, again, being on the couch, not being able to move, that's not the way I want to go about my prep. So that's my decision. I'm very happy with it, very content with it. So just moving forward, I'm gonna try my best to make more videos. It's just they're very let's say, time consuming, and sometimes I just don't have that free time to do it. But I'll say, I saw Alberto putting out his videos, Brad's putting out his, we got our podcast going out there. So I felt like, shoot, man, I'm like, these guys are killing me here. So I'm trying to keep up with them, and trying to give you guys, keep up, so you guys can keep up with what I'm doing with my prep. But yeah, we are, like I said, 8 weeks out from Worlds, 4 weeks out from guest posing at WNBF Mexico in Mexico City, and I'm super pumped for those. I'm getting a little tired, I'll be honest with you guys. Mentally, I'm getting a little bit tired, but I still have more juice in me. Not that kind of juice, which I know someone's going to say, that kind of juice. No, not that kind of juice. Juice as in energy. I have plenty of energy left in the tank to get after it. So yeah, so let's finish strong. And if you guys have any questions, comments, or whatever, throw them down below. And I won't promise I'll get to them, but I'll do my best to try.